Akali is another one that if you have a premier player, or especially two premier players on the pick, it's even more valuable. 100 Thieves have also really been liking the Sett these days. Huhi, it's kind of one of his support specials that he has been really good at in the past. Did bring it out quite a lot, but it can be moved around the map. You know, if you have people that are willing to play it in top and mid, and you're also down to flex it for support, it's quite a powerful pick here.
Notably, Rumble is going to get locked in here, which passed through the draft in our last game, interestingly. So is back on stage. Definitely, maybe teams are considering other options, but Rumble should definitely be a fixture in the meta still and closer, especially with something like Sett and his team supporting him so well. He can definitely take over a game if Rumble gets going. I
mean, he has been slamming games on the Rumble, really having a standout season for himself here with the team. We are expecting it to be Lee Sin in the solo lane. Akaadian is a Lee Sin player, though. You know, did make his name for himself, you know, on a lot of these more aggressive picks, the Rengar back in the day, you know, an Echo Fox, things like the Lee Sin, so it could be potential to get flexed over there. Lissandra would confirm that it is going to be a jungle Lee Sin, pretty much guaranteed. We got to see this brought out actually by CLG last weekend in lieu of the Galio. It will instead be the Gwen. This does still mean it's going to be jungle Lee Sin, so likely going to be Gwen top. Hasn't really made its way mid in the LCS. Renekton would be the mid laner. Lee Sin would be the jungler there. And 100 Thieves will have the ability here to counterpick for mid.
All right, well, what do they want here? Kali, I think was maybe a consideration, but I think Gwen is a bit more powerful, so makes sense choice-wise there for Dig. Gnar, actually, the selection there.
Okay, so then it's going to be Sett mid or support.
Or support, yeah.
So still the ability to flex. They could save that to last and then just kind of move around based on what the draft has actually shown. And now you start really kind of targeting where your opponents haven't drafted yet. I wouldn't be surprised to see 100 Thieves banning away some of the supports, look to actually pinch that pool. Then if they want, they can move Sett down there and kind of get the advantage as far as the priority on that side. Because otherwise, you know, you can ban away marksman, but you're kind of banning away from both teams, right? Neither team has actually selected their marksman just yet.
I actually like 100 Thieves doing this here. Just gives, again, using who he's set as a pivot point here that they can really flex around in the draft.
I like the Varus ban because Varus sets up really well for the Rumble. Actually, that combo is very, very powerful. You hit the Varus ult, the Equalizer gets layered over top, you're rooted down, you get hit by the Piercing Arrow, the execute damage with the W as well. Means that you are pretty screwed if you get hit by the Varus ult to start things off. So I think it's an intelligent ban. Yes, Dignitas could have picked it, but I think it fits less with their comp than it does with 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves is going to be banning away a very aggressive option as far as the marksman does go. This is 3 melee who want to dive, who want to scrap on the Dignitas side, so Tristana would pair well with that. Israel, another option. I mean, Kaisa is kind of the elephant in the room, it feels like, you know, as far as one of these picks that can go very aggressive if you want to be able to do that. Jhin can do it in another way, but I think that the Kaisa fits the draft more. That makes a lot of sense to me. Jhin would be more of the kind of like pseudo-supportive, engagey type up option where you just open up the curtain call, slow people down for your team to engage, but FBI has a mean Kaisa, and there's a lot of setup here for him with it.
Yeah, Senna feels like the other aggressive option. Sorry, defensive option you could take, kind of in line with Jhin, but wants to go for the aggressive one instead. Oh, it's banned as well. Unlucky. Samira, maybe here for Neo.
Yeah, Samira would be exciting, and they are going to go for it. So Samira, and it has to be an aggressive pairing alongside it. I'm thinking Leona, potentially Nautilus as well. That could work. The Nautilus works kind of like a takeaway as well if you think that Ssumday, you know, is not going to be playing this, Abbeddage is not going to be playing the Sett. If that's going to be played in a solo lane, Nautilus plus Kaisa is a really good pairing. It also pairs well with the Rumble. So Nautilus here could be pretty nice. Leona is more strong for the lane though, and that's what they're going to prioritize. So I think makes sense here. And now we find out, is this solo lane Sett? Is it support Sett? Braum would be really nice as far as actually denying some of the hard engage. Zillion would be interesting. Can potentially deny the resets here from the Aphelios, but you know, maybe I'm just getting a little bit too baited by some of the hovers. I do think it could actually work with some of their compositions though.
Oh, okay. We'll just wait. Here we go. Come on, there's Lucian.
Lucian mid.
So Sett support, Lucian mid. Not up.
Yeah, unless they're getting really insane, but should be Lucian mid. It will be Sett support. So very interesting. They are pretty physical damage heavy, but of course the Rumble being mixed in there does change things up a bit. I'm a little bit surprised by the Lucian, I've got to say. You know, I do think it's fine into Gwen. You know, this is a matchup that you can actually bully early, but you're relatively short range. There is a lot of CC and actually ability to pick off Lucian here in this draft when you're looking at Renekton, when you're looking at, you know, Lee Sin, the Leona, all these champions that could actually find picks here can be pretty dangerous.
Oh, it is going jungle.
Oh, okay. Getting a little bit spicy here. I'd kind of thrown off the table because we just weren't seeing an LCS really at all. But Gwen does have a pretty good jungle clear. You can actually get through very, very fast on a 6-camp clear. Of course, the Q for the AoE, the auto reset on the E, plus the bonus damage is very, very effective on the bigger camps, and the Q is very effective on the smaller camps, of course, you know, with the AoE there. So Akaadian, I want to say first Gwen jungle in the LCS. I can get that confirmed. But
I will confirm it for you.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that it is, and this is going to be a fun one to actually see. You know, my major concern when I see Gwen jungle is it's like, yeah, you can farm fast, but your ganking pressure is very low. You need to have great setup. You do with the Renekton. You know, you can kind of just try to get a wraparound gank. Renekton sets up with a stun, and then you just chase people down with your E, and that can work, but it is not exactly incredibly threatening. So you're playing more of like this pseudo-scaling jungler that is harder to kind of get involved in the early stages. And if Gwen doesn't get a lot of gold, she does struggle because you are kind of just this lifesteal tank, right? And that is one of those things where when you're playing that style of champion, you generally have to be ahead of the curve, which is not only harder to do in jungle, it's even harder to do in pro, where normally the junglers have to be, you know, hovering lanes, playing for vision, more than just like power farming the whole game.
It also kind of feels like a jungler that, you know, wants to farm, but also maybe wants to fight the enemy jungler, which seems like okay 1v1, but it's never going to be a 1v1 with closest teammates. So we'll see how it plays out. Very curious. I will say in general, Dig, this is very much a go-forward comp. I like that everyone is on the same page as far as the direction the team will be traveling in.
Yeah, definitely. They are looking to dive very, very clearly. I mean, both comps do kind of similar things. You could try to kite back a little bit more on the side of 100 Thieves, try to play more of a disengaged style with the double marksman, of course. But not always going to be really what they are looking for. For the most part, they want to be going forward. They're going to be trying to utilize double range solo laners here to really abuse that early game power. The Lucian, the Gnar, push in, bully these melee laners, and try to utilize that to protect closer from any sort of invade. You know, you were talking about the ability for Gwen to actually win a duel against the Rumble. I absolutely agree with that. But you don't get to go for those sorts of invades if your laners are stuck under their tower.
No, you do not. So we'll see how that plays out with 100 Thieves kind of fancying their counter picks here. I did see it on screen briefly, and I do want to highlight it. The preview matchup, the free preview matchup, I should say, for this one is a doozy. Huhi versus Aphromoo. Definitely a great support matchup to watch. And the best thing about support preview is that it's kind of like half bot lane preview as well. You get to see what other people are up to, and sometimes if they're really on it, you get to see what other lanes are up to.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes they're playing with an Ezreal, and then it just becomes jungle preview. Yeah. You know? They're out of there. Exactly. See you in 20 minutes, bud.
As someone whose first cast was from a streamer POV, because we didn't have spectator back in my day. Let me tell you, support's the best role to spectate if you have to spectate from one place only. So maybe get some added value there out of Huhi/Afro streams.
I respect it. A lot of pressure on these guys to make plays happen too. Huhi, known for his Sett, wants to play really aggressive. He is playing Phase Rush, so this is the less tanky option. He's got to get in there, make the plays happen. Very likely playing Hex Flash as well. Has been kind of the go-to. A lot of Sett players like to look for these aggressive plays, and this is a wraparound from Akaadian. May not be expecting it.
Red buff Gwen, pretty good. Here's Yusui coming in. Slow's going to land. Oh, FakeGod!
Uh-oh.
What's happened there?
Nothing good.
Nothing good for Ssumday. Oh, Abbeddage is dead as well. Dignitas just making it happen, and now Closer just can't do anything. Both solo lanes are dead in 3 minutes.
Yeah, I was talking about the double range solo lane advantage here. It's Closer on the invade, but this is dicey. Now Yusui's behind you. We'll see if he can run it out.
Oh, all right, Yusui getting in there. Does get the scrap shield up. We'll close it. Abbeddage here. Conqueror procced, and Yusui will have to back up, but that's a tragedy for 100 Thieves.
Absolutely. I like the early gank here from Akaadian. It's kind of one of those situations where when you're thinking, all right, Gwen is not a good ganking jungler, so Abbeddage just didn't expect the gank. He did not respect the possibility of the gank, and Akaadian just skips the blue, wraps around on him, gets behind him, and we didn't even see the full play out of what happened up on the top side, but can pretty much guarantee you Ssumday got a little bit too close to that Renekton in mini, and you can get all in when that does happen. I'll be interested to see if we get a replay of that, but FakeGod with the solo kill on the top side, they make the gank happen in the mid lane, so double solo laner deaths for 100 Thieves is pretty surprising. You know, they have been so solid in their laning, and to give both those up right away is messy stuff.
Oh, the Gromp timing was dicey, but Closer does not find Akaadian low health. Smites the camp, gets all the health back, and Closer wasting a bunch of time, honestly. Just invading through here, trying to find something, but there is nothing to take as Yusui TP's back to mid with the pickaxe already done. Alrighty, how did this happen?
All right, so I'm guessing Mega just expires and Ssumday's really too close, right? This has probably got to be what it is.
Oh,
yeah.
FakeGod.
Oh, that was really nicely played. So he hits 3 there, slice through the minions, gets the reset for the dice, gets the stun actually on the flash there from Ssumday, closing the gap afterwards. And that's what you got to be really careful about in Gnar. You can win this matchup. You can have that pushing advantage, but you got to chip away carefully, because if you get in range as Mega expires, there's no chance of getting into that Mega Gnar, and Mini Gnar has some of the lowest base stats in the game, so that is where you're really vulnerable. You got to be behind minions, you got to be chipping away with those boomerangs and not allowing yourself to get in this position where you can get all in. All
right, well, jungle help not coming, so Huhi instead has roamed to mid lane. I'm going to go ahead and punch the ward on the right-hand side of mid. Ooh, hit level 4. A little bit of extra value there, as Abbeddage is trying to fend off Yusui. Wave's looking good for him, as top side also looking good for Ssumday, but FakeGod has evened that back out. Ssumday was just building a big wave, but FakeGod, of course, has finished farming most of that, so he'll be up, including the first blood gold that he gets, as Closer, at this point, I think just trying to race to level 6.
Yep, just looking to try to get there pretty quick. He was looking for the aggressive invade options because I think he valued his levels less than the Gwen getting levels, and it's basically just trying to scrap and hold that Gwen down. Unfortunately, wasn't really able to take much away, but he did have the kind of quicker resets on the jungle camp, so he is ahead as a result of that. You know, Akaadian delayed taking his top side because he did that wraparound gank on mid lane, so that puts himself a little bit behind, but of course puts Yusui in a much better position. So that's the trade-off, and when you go for these sorts of plays as a jungler, your laner then has to come through and do something with that, because getting a kill on the Lee Sin is great, but if you put yourself behind to do that, it's now on the Lee Sin's shoulders to make something happen here, to extend that advantage.
FakeGod at it again. Ooh, into the turret goes FakeGod, but not quite in range. Oh, actually, I take it back. Shot there did hit. Now closes up here on the top side. FakeGod too low already. But the stunner to Ssumday, and Ssumday's so low as Akaadian, maybe looking to finish it off, but nothing happening as both top laners with low health will both walk away.
This is a minor thing, but one of the things we saw there from Akaadian, this is something I see a lot of players do, is actually, you know, dropping the W from Gwen before they do their E. They're actually starting to combo with W and then moving in. You only get one reposition on the miss, and you can actually drop it while you're in your E, like as an animation cancel there, and then that doesn't actually cost you your first reposition of that, so then you can move it again afterwards. And in this case, of course, it did not matter, but that is one of those mechanical things that I really do like to see Gwen's going for. You know, the reposition can be absolutely critical in a team fight. If you have that really in a good spot, especially against double marksman, you can be pretty darn safe. But if you waste that first reposition, you're forced to step out. Now you're exposed and you could die almost instantly.
All right, especially since, you know, one of the whole tenets of Gwen Z is that when you hit someone, the cooldown gets reduced so you can do it again. And right, you'll probably still have the mist up ready to go for an even better reposition. So a good tip there from Azael as always, as Abbeddage is busy farming the minions under his tower. But despite the blunder in mid lane, he's doing just fine here on the Lucian. So 100 Thieves, like, you know, early landing aggression plans may have been foiled, but, you know, they'll farm it out. They'll find the mid game. It's okay.
Yeah, they're not in a horrible spot by any means. I mean, the game is pretty close. It's 400 goals, right? You know, it's much less than the gold from those kills that was actually given over because they are just farming better. You look down to the bottom side, that's a 12 CS advantage here. You know, mid lane is slightly in their favor. Jungle is a little bit in their favor as well because the early gank that I was talking about that Akaadian went for. So 100 Thieves doing fine. Of course, they would have wanted to be more ahead in their solo lanes. They didn't want to give up those early kills, and Lucian generally is hoping to be significantly ahead in these range versus melee matchups to really punish when you are looking for that farm. But if you die early, you have to play much more cautiously, right? You're not stepping forward and trying to punish Lee Sin on every single minion. And if you can't do that, well, Lee Sin just kind of heals through any little bit of poke you're going to throw at him.
All right, well, Herald has been started there by Dig. It's actually Neo roaming up first to kick it off. Topside Ssumday goes back to mini, does get the proc of the grasp onto FakeGod. But Akaadian trying to finish off the Herald. 100 Thieves are going to find out. Closer has ulti, but Aphro is going to look for the stun there on Leona. Damage is done. Closer dead before he can pop the equalizer, and now in the backside the stun onto Abbeddage. He's going to cause problems there for Lucian, but he gets out with a flash, and Dig get a kill and the Herald for their trouble.
Dig on the faster move, and they didn't hesitate at all. They engaged right away there, punishing 100 Thieves. Closer was there a little bit before the rest of his team. His team was moving, but they were just slower, and Dignitas immediately capitalized on that. Now, the real problem here, though, is on that bottom side as the farm lead is just getting smaller, or rather bigger and bigger, rather. You know, the farming not going very well for Neo. He has been having a pretty tough time. FBI 30+ CS now at this point, 9 minutes in, is pretty disgusting in an uninterrupted lane.
Yeah, and being the first one to the Rift Herald for Neo is not going to help matters. So he'll be leaning on his top side, right? He is getting some advantages, right? Yusui now 2-0, so just won again. Aphromoo with a perfect engage here on the closer.
Yeah, and it's really about this. Here in the mid lane is actually Kaisa, right? You know, we can see Neo has already arrived. They don't have the members. You look up on the top side, Gnar is up there. You know, the team is just absolutely split. So 100 Thieves move into the river, not expecting Dignitas to be there. I think they thought it would be a 2v2 or a 3v3 that would then evolve into that bigger fight. FakeGod, though, in trouble. Nice turn.
Turning it around. Akaadian getting in there. Pops the mist. And now Closer going to be the target. But Gwen already got 1 kill, but now Closer maybe can clean up 2. Akaadian is so low and will die. So it's just going to be a trade. Closer getting 1 back.
Nice turn, though, from Dig. Is FakeGod kind of baiting Ssumday forward. Pops the ult, turns on him. And honestly, that would have been a pretty reasonable trade if Akaadian, I think, just held on to the stopwatch there. That would have been fine for him to go down. And then it's kind of that 1-for-1 jungler for top laner, and you'd be feeling pretty happy about that. Either way, good counter gank from him. And you can see back here in the mid lane, 100 Thieves is trying to continue pushing, but it is Yusui with the gold advantage, and we want to be able to see him to execute on that, to get an advantage with this. You know, we saw him have some games where he was in that lead, but wasn't really able to turn it into anything from the team. So here was FakeGod. He was going forward for this early trade. He sees Closer, so then he's just backing up, and Akaadian here is waiting. It's a really nice equalizer. So much damage was actually put down by that. Akaadian a bit slow to get out of the equalizer initially, gets him very, very low. And then at this point, if there's no cooldowns on FakeGod and you don't want to actually turn for that fight, just save the stopwatch, just accept the death, and move on with that 1-for-1.
All right, well, top lane action still continuing here. Ssumday still up a little bit in CS and using, again, the mini Gnar power to try and punch FakeGod. Hop forward there. Ooh, very aggressive. But about to go Mega, so feeling, you know, pretty comfy about going off here in the 1v1. As Dragon does go to Dignitas. Actually, the first one of the game, a little late here, but 11.5 minutes does go over as we have a pause.
Yeah, we'll see exactly what this pause is for here, but things are going pretty well overall here for both the teams. Fairly even game. It's just going to be about who can actually execute on the advantages that they have more. The 100 Thieves bot lane is getting quite far ahead. Yusui, of course, is fairly ahead himself in the mid lane with the couple kills under his belt. He's going to have the extra gold there. I do think it's always pretty scary when it's, you know, the marksman who's ahead on the other team, because that is kind of like one of the easier roles to carry from at the pro level. When this Kaisa gets ahead, so difficult to actually deal with. You know, FPI's positioning is generally very good. The ultimate for self-peel, when you get the upgraded E for the invis as well, it gets even more difficult to actually stick onto him. At least then it's about playmaking. You know, Yusui's got to get into the back line, got to find one of those juicy targets, kick in the Lucian, or kick in FBI. We are back in, so thankfully it was a quick pause there.
Alrighty, Gale Force done for Abbeddage as we return. So I imagine the first mythic is up for Yusui in just a moment. But
yeah. He did go tier 2 boots, and there's no boots on Abbeddage, so we'll see if he has that big of a lead. I'm not sure he's going to be 1,100 gold ahead at this point, so he might not quite have it, and we'll find out exactly where he does want to go.
Every time Lucian hits Q, I want them to take it, but I think Yusui correctly did not take that one. A little too risky on Delusional, though. Doesn't have Flash, so a little bit more vulnerability than usual. Akaadian zip it on in.
Okay.
To, drop the Rift Herald here, give Yusui some plate, so definitely investing a lot in the Lee Sin here.
Yeah, so it's even more pressure on him to actually, you know, get something from this. There wasn't really any pre-chip damage, so unfortunately they won't get that third plate, I don't believe. We'll see if he was. Oh, no, Shelly actually did a good job. Got that third plate at the end. Abbeddage not able to finish it off, so a lot of gold really being invested here, as you say, into Yusui. Akaadian doing pretty well himself, you know, with those plates. Should be able to kind of equalize the disadvantage he has as far as farm goes. But again, the bot lane is just such a problem. I mean, this is a bounty on FBI purely through farm, right? He's 45 or so CS ahead at this point in the game. They've done such a good job actually manipulating the wave. You know, yes, Dignitas got the first move to Herald, but FBI had the wave frozen for a long time, then reset the wave when they did go for that move. So again, it just was reset and pushing towards them. You have this situation where you're just bleeding gold constantly and can be very, very difficult to deal with, and that's resulting now in a much faster Mythic. Yeah,
Kraken Slayer done. FBI feeling very comfy here in this game. Also has Cleanse for this one, so even more ability to get stuff done. Notably, Neo does not have Cleanse, but I guess there's nothing much you can cleanse. Gnar ulti, I guess, but everything else you just kind of get got, so don't get hit, I guess, for Neo is going to be the aim of the upcoming fights. Yeah, just
dodge skill shots,
be better.
Kill the opponents, blow up the Nexus. Pretty simple game.
Exactly. When you put it like that. All right, Stride Breaker done for Yusui. All right, we don't see this one as often, but again, more playmaking, more agency, right? The ability to just have another way to get on top of someone and kick them into your team.
Absolutely. I mean, you have the mini dash, the slow as well, plus the slow on your Tempest Cripple on the E. It's going to be pretty nice there to try to get in on top of some of these marksmen, knock them into the rest of the squad. FBI, I'm expecting it's just going to be PD second with the double longsword. It could be one of the lethality builds, but those seem to have kind of fallen out of favor quite a lot, and I do tend to favor these PD-style builds. You can go PD, especially with Hail of Blades, that plus Kraken. You're getting the really quick 3 autos for the Kraken proc, plus you're also additionally stacking up the PD passive. Those first 4 hits come out incredibly fast with that Hail of Blades, plus the bonus attack speed from your E. And once that's going, Kaisa's DPS is just insane.
All right, it looks like Yusui is going to the bottom side of the map. I don't think he fancies a 1v1 with FBI. I think he'd actually lose pretty handily, so they'll trade back and forth. Not sure what the call for the play was there, but Dignitas are moving some of their pieces around back and forth here. I guess Yusui just had the timing because the wave was pushed in. Lucian, you know, not interested in just sticking around against Lucian 1v1, so the more time he can leave lane, the better.
Absolutely, and I think at this point in the game, Dignitas are probably talking about how do we get Neo farm. You know, Samira must play from a good position, and because that wave had been shoved in, it was going to actually bounce. Neo is probably saying, no, stay mid. I need this wave. It's going to crash. Give me the farm. Because Samira cannot play from behind. You have got to commit to fights to be useful at all, right? This is not an Ezreal. This is not a Jhin, a champion that can kind of rely on some of the long-range abilities. You have got to be in there. You got to stack the passive, and you got to dive in and get a value ult, or you are pretty useless. And that is not what you love to see if you're on the Dignitas side. Ssumday getting the solo kill there on a Neo, and insult to injury, both summoners down.
It's a bad time. I mean, Samira, like you mentioned, is kind of the best representation of High's ask of ADC use their health as a resource. Samira has to, right? So she buys shield bow and gets.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go. Yeah, he was just spending his health as a resource. He just didn't get a good exchange.
Wrong way to spend it. It's not a good investment.
The best I can do is $0.
Well, Rift Herald also pops, so FBI is getting even more gold now. 100 Thieves take the first tower down. Did seem so nice for Dig with his first early kills. But 100 Thieves kind of taking control of this game and using kind of a method they've used for all year, really. Rally around FBI, who's got a lot of farmers. So watch this one. This TP's down there. Says, get off my turret.
Oh, I mean, Neo's got to respect the TP. You're autoing the tower in his face, but Ssumday, the prediction on the flash there. The wall up was already placed where Neo was going to flash, and that is so smart because Neo must flash that direction, get out of turret aggro. So, you know, even if you whiff on that, that means he didn't flash and he's dead to the turret either way. This just is so much sweeter. Ssumday with the good play. Neo, honestly, that's one of those plays where we've all made him. We're getting slammed in lane the whole game. You finally feel like you're getting some gold, and you just really want to greed out for it. And unfortunately for him, he's going to get punished for that. Gives over another kill, even further behind now. It's going to be hard for him to be very relevant in a lot of these fights.
And look at FBI continuing to farm up. That CS lead's only getting worse as Yusui is at least getting things pushing in the right direction. He is pretty strong individually, right? Can afford to maybe make more of these side lane plays, but again, not necessarily where you want your gold to be going.
Yeah, and this has kind of been my issue with some of Yusui's play, is that he is able to create leads. He hasn't been able to extend leads or really make them worthwhile, right? There was a significant investment. Akaadian sacrificed his early jungle clear, his pathing to go mid. That gank worked. He returns mid. You know, they go there with the Herald. That worked. They get 3 plates in him. He has 2 kills. And nothing has really happened since then. He hasn't really been able to find a play on his own. I'm not saying it's easy, but that is the requirement to really make that investment worthwhile. Otherwise, Akaadian should have been trying to put another lane ahead. Potentially spent more time with FakeGod, who already had created his solo advantages. So there is a lot of pressure here, I think, on Yusui to make something happen potentially around these next dragons, because I do think that this really slow pace of the game is only favoring 100 Thieves. I think that their composition scales more effectively. Gwen is not really going to get enough gold to just like win the game through side lane, kind of like what we saw last game from Jenkins. So it's going to be difficult. You're just kind of relying on this core of Samira, Lucian, and Renekton. Samira is almost out of the game. You're down 50 CS, have no kills. Lucian and Renekton are much more early game style champions. So you've got to be making stuff happen now.
All right, well, we'll see what happens in maybe the next 3 minutes or so, because that is when the next dragon will spawn. It is Ocean, Soul, and of course Ocean Rift as a result this game as well. So definitely one the teams want to fight for. Of course, these early dragons got split, but Dignitas, with no towers being taken, do need to find a way to create some action for themselves here. Yusui right now, though, just letting the wave chill there in topside, building it up very slowly. Yeah,
it looks like he just wanted to freeze, but now I see the Stridebreaker's on cooldown, so he must be pushing. Decides to try to go for that there, so maybe saw someone pop on the map and decided he wanted to just try to reset this. But with a cannon there, he could freeze. He could just kind of hold it and try to deny experience. If you're just going to play, okay, so he is freezing. So I think this is smart. Okay, never mind. It's one of those situations where if your opponents don't have an objective to force on the map, there's no reason really not to freeze. Because, like, what are they going to do about it, right? There's no dragon. There's no Baron. There's nothing for them to do. You have 2 minutes until that actually comes. So if you stay in the side lane there with that cannon wave, you stack up additional minions on top of the cannon, you can pretty much have a perma-freeze and just kind of hold it there and deny minions and create a pretty significant experience and gold disadvantage. But instead, because he gets the push, well, guess where Abbeddage is? Abbeddage has already moved up towards top side, right? Just easy run up towards that top side. He's going to catch the wave, and now none of that gold is really being taken away from your opponents.
Good catch there for Abbeddage. Oh, this is the plan, I guess. But 2v2 is going to be the play. They're in fog, but not for long. Yusui looking to make the play. Stride break kicks in. Now Akaadian going to dive in. That's the play we've been looking for. Akaadian's going to grab some gold.
Nicely done there by Dignitas. They needed to make that aggressive move. Sidestep, though, from FBI.
Good attempt by Aphromoo, but Huhi is going to flash it. Now, Ssumday pressuring FakeGod here does force out the ulti, but both of them will have traded those cooldowns, and FakeGod's dominance will wear out in a moment.
Yeah, those trades generally pretty in the favor of Gnar, though. The Mega Gnar cooldown doesn't really matter at all, so that's going to be feeling good. But thankfully, Yusui does find that kill. Lucian moved up towards the top side. The pace of the game had really been slowing down. And they found that much-needed kill. They take out the Lucian, and we'll see if they can actually turn this into anything at the next dragon. Was a trade of flashes there on the mid laners. May be difficult for Lucian without the flash to really make a play here. And now Ssumday, with this push, can likely actually clean up the tower, then base, spend all that gold, and look to really be ready here for this dragon. So despite the kill on the top side, gold stays dead even, 1 dragon apiece. This game is really, really close as far as the gold lead does go, but the main difference is FBI. He's a good 1,700 gold ahead of his opponent, so we can watch this one more time. Abbeddage was playing actually fairly cautiously. They did spot closer, but they just didn't hesitate. In he goes, flash, stride breaker for the slow, kick. The Q comes through as well. Abbeddage, I think, did kind of waste his E a little bit, kind of dashed back in, maybe wanted to try to save that, flash, then E at the same time, try to create that distance back to the tower, and then down here on this bottom side, Ssumday was just going for an aggressive trade with the Mega Gnar. It's pretty standard. Push in, try to use the Mega Gnar offensively, try to poke out that Renekton. And FakeGod now off to the side a little bit here. Has got to be careful as Abbeddage is TPing, but will it be too late?
Dig on the dragon. I'm going to take it here, but can I get out safely? Ssumday onto Neo. Such a good target there, but Aphromoo is going to CC the front side, but Ssumday now going to transform, catches Aphro with the scoop, and Closer's going to get one. Dignitas just have to run here.
Nicely done there by Ssumday. Not only does he catch Aphro, he forces the flash from Neo. It is flash for flash. And they're just going to come over here towards mid lane, shove this in, and we'll see where they want to go after this. But with double marksman, you get access to that tower. The tower will just melt. Does not look like Dig can do anything about it. Just going to increase that gold lead and can move up in towards that top side river. Start establishing even more vision control and look to threaten potentially towards that Baron.
And again, whenever you're in this kind of situation, right, 20 minutes, past 20 minutes, and you look at the tower score, it's a lot harder to play this game than, you know, the gold that those towers are worth indicate, right? Dig just have no space right now, and I think they'll get probably 2 of these towers relatively easily, but the longer 100 Thieves can defend them, the more gold they're able to pick up, and the harder it is for Dignitas to make a play because they have to extend so far in order to try and take them.
Absolutely. You know, in these kind of games where one team is ahead in kills, the other team is actually still ahead in gold, you know, and has additional towers, it's usually just kind of indicative of superior laning, right? And 100 Thieves just has had better laning this game. Dignitas got the early scrappy kills. They got kills on both the soul laners, but they didn't really snowball that. They found some nice individual plays. They do have the dragons working for them, so they've definitely got a shot in this game. We'll see if they can continue moving towards Ocean Soul, which would be enormous for their team. But they have got to try to get more control in these side lanes because Ssumday especially has been pushing further and further forward, and it's really feeling like he's taking control, but it is going to be the TP play here from Renekton.
Yusui has found someone, and it is Huhi. Not the best target, but not a bad one. Now Huhi's going to rejoin the team. FakeGod already getting melted. FBI commits the ulti late. Didn't even need to, as Neo just getting run down by Ssumday and Fred's now going to spin and looking for the play, but doesn't find it as Ssumday is going to clap him down.
Yeah, Ssumday just basically soloing out Neo there, pushing him back. Nice sidestep and pings onto the Baron. They want to try to force this. This is 2 members down now for Dignitas. No top laner, no AD. Your opponents have double marksman. The Baron is just gone.
Yep, I mean, Akaadian can't get in there. There's 3 different control words out there. They do it so quickly. And Dignitas will, I think, just correctly give up the objective because there's not much they can do. They will try and push through mid here and trade. This is a very important tower to take. And 100 Thieves are resetting after the Baron, so that is a nice little counterpunch there for Dignitas, but it's kind of a very small victory in the face of what 100 Thieves just accomplished, taking that Baron away.
Absolutely. 2 kills plus the Baron here. It is them trying to be proactive. They have the TP flank here from FakeGod. He does get into FBI, but FBI has the cleanse to actually kite back. Abbeddage is there as well. Closer is there as well. There's so much damage that Renekton just gets evaporated. He did not have hysterics at that point in the game. He doesn't really have the backup there either. Ssumday was critical in that fight. He found Neo. He pushes him out. He zones out the rest of the Dignitas members there as well. So, you know, both top laners trying to go for that play, and it just worked out better from Ssumday because he wasn't really separated from the rest of his team.
All right, well, how much damage can they do with the Red Bull Baron buff there? 2 minutes for 100 Thieves to get things pushing. They'd like to break at least 1 inhibitor tower, but we'll see just how much they can get done here in this early siege. This tower is definitely dead, so don't have to worry too much about that one. It's what defense Dignitas can offer for the other ones that we'll have to see about.
I think they're going to lose all the outers, to be honest with you. I think bot lane is pretty doomed. We'll see if they will actually want to try to push up towards topside and get that last outer there, or if they would prefer to try to... But I actually think he has enough farm that he can. You know, if you hard commit to the Kaisa, like, look at his items, right?
True.
He's a full item up on Neo as well. So just naturally through the amount of farm he has, he got some plates. They took a lot of towers around the map for global gold. They got the Baron. Like, he's pretty rich. So, you know, he's sitting 1, 2, and 1. You wouldn't think that necessarily he's the guy that you have to worry about. And I agree. It's more about FBI. But if you are just diving onto FBI, ignoring Abbeddage, he's going to roast you. And that's kind of what happened to FakeGod up on that top side. You know, they went straight for FBI. He popped the cleanse. Closer and Abbeddage were just free firing on FakeGod, and he died immediately.
Yeah, Conqueror closer with the Riftmaker done. Very powerful on the Rumble as well. So you said it in the last team fight, and I guess it bears repeating. 100 Thieves have a lot of damage. Not even Renekton able to survive the current onslaught as Abbeddage is trying to push the side lane here. 45 seconds worth of Baron to play with, and the bottom side is looking a little vulnerable as Ssumday is continuing to push the bottom lane. He has not left this in what feels like about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing well around it, right? They've done actually a very good job. As we'll see if this play continues. Looks like it will dissipate, so I'm going to kind of highlight here what I think is the most important part about the split pushing. Look at this line of vision, right? Like, that's literally the line of vision for 100 Thieves. That's why you can play safely here. Where can they attack you? There's nowhere. It's all 100 Thieves vision across the map, and that is the key thing, right? And that's something I think sometimes people really forget about. You know, they'll be critical of a top laner on a lesser team for not, you know, split pushing as much. You know, why didn't you play side lane? Well, if you don't have wards anywhere, guess what happens? You get picked off constantly. You die in those side lanes. Ssumday has everything lit up. There's no way he's going to get surprised, and he wins the 1v1 naturally at this point in the game, so guess what he's going to do? He's going to shove the Renekton, keep him locked into the tower, chip away at him, and try to trade ultis constantly. Because Renekton without ulti is just so worthless in the team fight. He can't look for that TP flank or that amazing play that we're kind of hoping for Dignitas to have a chance to come back.
There's a fun little highlight there. Thank you, production. But that's a big vision score for Huhi. I mean, you're the support on the winning team. I'm guessing like your vision score is going to be pretty high, but he's like 20 clear of the next person, which of course is Aphro, and clearly been put in work, making sure Ssumday is protected on the side lane. Serolda's Grudge finished in the mid lane for Abbeddage. Starting to see this a lot actually on different ADs. Makes sense.
Yep.
Shoot people better, slow them down, shoot them more. It's great.
I mean, Lucian obviously as one of kind of those spell weaving champions, it makes it really difficult to actually close the gap onto him, and it also makes it really difficult to stay away from him. You look over, you see 4 melee, these champions that are diving onto you, you're kiting back with the culling, you know, you're dashing forward with the relentless pursuit, you know, hit them with the piercing light, they're slowed again, you know, you're getting the passive autos, resetting that. So it does allow you, if you're actually playing these fights really well, to kind of kite back and then chase down and play that very, very effectively. Can be quite a nice item, but generally is just worse unless you're really good with it. Because if you're not actually utilizing the ability to kite effectively enough, then things like Lord Doms just become generically better.
I will trust in Abbedage's individual skill.
Oh, I will too.
I'm trusting him a lot, actually. He's on my fantasy team. Give the man some kills. I got to get those points boosted up. Don't worry, we got a weekend. It's fine. All right. Looks like Baron number 2 is going to be set up here for 100 Thieves. 1:15 until that's up. As we already pointed out, Dig, very little in the way of Baron, and Huhi's already getting the party started. Equalizer down, Yusui getting burned to a crisp. As the TP's coming in a little late, but hey, it'll make it work here as Aphro's trying to get onto Abbeddage. Closer already taking down Yusui. Abbedage's kiting his way out of dodge as Neo is going to finish up the kill, but FBI still alive and causing problems as Aphromoo is going to get that next either play dodge. Ssumday, by the way, isn't even joining this fight. He's actually TP'd to the bottom side. So now FakeGod is coming in hot, but they're going to have to run to the top laner. Closer in trouble, Strikebreaker in!
Okay.
FakeGod with a big bit of CC, but it's not enough for the kill. Closer still alive as Ssumday is still pressuring that Nexus.
FakeGod close to the heroics there. Cancel the TP from Ssumday on that bottom side. Ssumday tried to TP first, tried to join the fight. He cancels the TP, backs off, says, I'm going to give up the inhib and try to go for a big play here. Dignitas clearly need a big play here. And he was really close to knocking down multiple members there. A lot of low health bars on the 100 Thieves side. Unfortunately for him, the teleport doesn't work out. They don't actually make good on any of those kills, so you just end up losing the inhibitor. We can see this play one more time. It's Huhi going in, clapping them together, setting up for the Rumble. Really nicely done. Aphro, though, with the counter locket was critical, allowing them to kind of get out. And then Neo finally is able to actually stack up the passive. And this is that play where he goes forward, he cancels that out. If that doesn't happen, they just get destroyed there. Because he's about to mega out, he enters this fight, everyone just dies. Instead, Neo able to kill off a couple on that top side of the fight. Then, when the counter TP comes through, you know, it's already FBI low, Huhi low, closer down to about half. FakeGod does do a good job of actually closing the gap. Flash, Stridebreaker, stun comes through onto closer, but just doesn't quite have enough damage. And the fact that 100 Thieves still had so many flashes remaining at that point in the fight kind of speaks to their winning position, because if they didn't have those flashes, that could have been a triple kill for Renekton.
All right, well, TP coming in, Dig trying to stop this Baron. Akaadian's in the area, but no flash. Baron's dead, never mind about that. Huhi getting in there. FBI diving in, it's 100 Thieves. Make it look so easy. Now FBI's gonna have to cut away from FakeGod, but what an all that is. Ssumday gets 3 or 4 straight into the wall, and 100 Thieves are gonna run away with this game.
That'll do it. All the kills going the way of 100 Thieves. They're pouring down mid lane. It's just Aphromoo to defend here. Dignitas with a good early game, but 100 Thieves, they play it slow, they play it smart, and they dominate in this late game.
Yeah, not even going to need the rest of this Baron duration. 100 Thieves going to walk straight towards the enemy Nexus and take it out. We thought they would look good. The early game had a couple moments there, but 100 Thieves clean as ever once the game comes to the end.
Absolutely. You know, they'll be disappointed about giving over those early kills in the solo lanes. But besides that, it ended up just being kind of like a blip on the map, right? Because 100 Thieves, they outlaned. In particular, I am going to go back and watch the pro view of FBI and Huhi for that game. They destroyed Aphro and Neo, who have been so good for Dignitas. They were up 40-50 CS, completely zoning them off, freezing the wave appropriately, crashing it as soon as their opponents move. The wave manipulation, very, very good to create a huge advantage for the 100 Thieves bot lane. And we saw Ssumday, despite getting solo killed on that top side, he played it well from there. He got control of the side lane. They set up the vision for him. Their setups were better. Their coordination was better. Their scaling was better. And there's a reason that they are 19-9 at this point.
Yep.
100 Thieves are having an incredible summer split.
Remember what I said? You already got one half of the Pro V for free. You got Huhi. You got half of FBI perhaps there, so just get the other half. Check out the 2v2, see what FBI was doing there. I mean, continuing to be a dominant duo, I think one of my favorite stories. I am biased, but it is so great to see FBI and Huhi succeeding so much as a duo lane. So definitely figuring out how that happened is really cool.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just really fun to watch Pro View when you see those really incredible advantages that people create, and it's like, well, how did they do it, right? You know, what are the kind of intricacies that they abuse to actually really create these monstrous advantages? Because that's something that not only really informs you about like how well some of the pros can actually play this game, but it's always little bits and pieces that you can try to steal for yourself.
Yeah, definitely so that. As I believe we have the POG decided. Not yet. Nope, not yet. It's funny. They moved down. They moved back up.
They're baiting.
They are baiting me. I don't know.
They're seeing. Will he read it?
Well, I mean, I will once I get there. We're not there yet. Waiting for this in the interview. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a fun game. On the other side, you're looking at Dignitas. Clearly, have not been doing very well for the last couple of weeks. You know, they had a good start. Their spring was pretty solid, so they actually had a good record to build upon. Soligo seemed to be doing well. He got subbed out. And then there's the issues with Dardoch. He gets removed from the roster. So there's going to be a bit of a rebuilding phase here. But Dignitas has got a lot of work to do if they want to be competing at the top, because it feels like they're going the opposite direction of where they need to be. And teams like 100 Thieves and TSM are really just getting better and better. That's your competition here, you know, when you really are trying to chase that summer title. I
think the hardest thing in general is, like, you know, Dig were a team that were good because of their teamwork. Obviously, when you change people in that